Hi, this is the Whittier Chess Club introducing another video, and this one's going to be a little different maybe from most of the videos that I hope to do for a couple of reasons. This video involves a look at a game by a world champion, Viswanathan Anand, but I don't really think I should be doing real analysis on Anand's games. Even Anand's opponent, just both players are a lot stronger than I am, and yeah, I can turn on the engine and give you some evaluation numbers, but probably it's better just to mostly go through the game and just make a couple of brief comments and then leave it at that, because I think this game might not, it probably isn't in the database, and I'm not sure about this, but I might be the only person who has this score sheet. I remember copying the score sheet that was written on the site and then leaving the original score sheet there. And this is 7 years ago almost. And so let's just get to it. So the event is a simul put on by the then world champion Viswanathan Anand, and he was playing, I don't know, maybe 20 boards or so at the Metropolitan Chess Club camp in Los Angeles. This was July 2013, and I believe it was the second of two times that Anand was the main guest at the camp, or the main instructor at the camp, and it ended up drawing some incredibly strong players, a lot of A players, and then some experts and even some masters were there to learn from the world champion. And I think Metropolitan made some instructional videos out of that. I don't know how to access those, but you could try their website, I suppose. But anyway, okay, so I wanted to get to this game starting from the beginning. And this is a game in which Anand was white, and the black player was a at that time, young player named Marcus Miyasaka, who I think is now a strong master, like 2300. Back then he was an expert, so maybe 2060, around there. Marcus also has some younger siblings who are also pretty strong. I think his brother Matthew is a master, recent master, maybe 2018. And Julia Miyasaka is also a pretty strong player, I think maybe 18 or 1900 peak rating, so highly ranked female player. But anyway, this is about Marcus's game against Anand, and Anand started with e4, and Marcus answered with the Caro-Kann. d4 is normal, d5 is absolutely normal, and then the advanced variation. Okay, so I guess there are some different possibilities here, but I'll just click through it quickly. Bishop f5, getting the bishop outside the pawn chain. Maybe e6 comes soon. Knight f3, e6, there it is. Bishop e2, knight e7. Castles, h6, maybe preventing bishop g5, which would pin the knight there. Okay, knight b d2. This is pretty equal. Bishop g6. Knight h4, hitting that bishop. Even though it's defended by the knight, but okay, you know, it's a simul, so we'll see what happens. Bishop h7, not wanting to be saddled without the bishop pair, so c3 comes, and then knight f5. Okay, so decision time for white. Should white take that off or just continue? And sorry, some technical difficulties here. White went ahead and took the knight. This is Anand taking Marcus's knight, and then bishop takes, so as not to double the pawns. g4, and bishop back to h7, safety. f4, building up some, maybe preparing an f5 type of thing. Knight d7, and Anand pushes forward with f5. Computer didn't like this move, but okay, you know, we'll just move on. It's not losing or anything like that. E takes f5, g takes f5, and queen g5 check. Okay, so hey, maybe it's almost a moral victory to, you know, get a check against the world champion for people like me, but we'll see how this game goes. Obviously, king h1 is natural enough, and then bishop takes on it, f5. Okay, at this point, black is definitely better because that whole f4, f5 push didn't seem to get very far. Knight f3 hitting the queen. Queen drops back to g6. Rook g1, hitting the queen obviously, and then queen backs off to e6. Bishop d3, offering a trade on d3, which black takes, and then g5. Okay, natural enough. And then bishop d2. I guess the idea is to bring the other rook into play. And bishop e7. Okay, and now comes the critical point in the game. I'll pause for a little while, and you can ask what you would play. But this isn't going to be the usual find the winning move, because in this case, I don't want you to find the move that loses. This is where the losing move was played by white. Anand played, drumroll, rook on a to e1. And okay, I admit I didn't see it either, but the question is, where does the knight go? One of the white rooks is on g1, one of the white rooks is on e1, bishop on d2, pawns on d4 and e5. So that should get you the idea that Marcus came up with, which is just simply g4. And this is, rook a e1 is completely losing, but Anand played on for a while. Rook on e to f1, maybe get something against f7 after g takes f3, rook takes f3. Computer didn't like rook takes f3, but hey, sometimes you got to play with worse moves, worse position, because you're dead lost anyway. And then comes castles long. So now black's rooks will be able to meet white's rooks on whatever files open up, the g file, maybe later the f file, that kind of thing. Okay, so rook g7, pinning that rook, but then rook on d to f8, covering the f7 pawn. Queen f5, offering a trade, so Marcus takes it. Queen takes f5, rook takes f5, and king d8, just maybe hustling back over to play some defense. Rook on f takes f7, rook takes f7, rook takes f7. And, black is still up a full, a piece for a pawn. And so king e8 hitting the white rook, rook back to f5. Nice square. h5, king g2, trying to activate something, but there's just not enough firepower here, right? h4, king h3, maybe to prevent the black pawn from getting there. And then rook f8 offering the trade. And I guess white could, technically could maybe play rook h5, but then that just lets the black rook in. So Anand played rook takes f8, Marcus played knight takes, and then king g4, king f7, h3, and after playing h3, Anand resigned because it's just not enough compensation, right? That knight's probably just going to come over to e6 and then maybe come around to the queen side and do some damage. So, hey, it's not every day that you see an expert beat not just a grandmaster, but one of the greatest players of all time, multiple world champion Viswanathan Anand, and not just multiple time classical world champion, but, rapid. So even though it was a simul, it was a nice victory for Marcus. And so congratulations to him. And if you guys ever get your chance, try to seize the day like Marcus Miyasaka did in this game. Thanks a lot, and see you guys next time.